Hello friends, let us now learn about the new question in physiology. So in this new questions, this is from previous AIMS previous year questions. So first, integrin connects actin in which integrin connects actin to which molecule in extracellular matrix. In extracellular matrix, integrin connects the actin to which molecule? Okay, integrin connects actin to this fibronectin molecule. Integrin connects actin to this fibronectin molecule in extracellular matrix. So for this we will have to learn about the connections, right? Okay, I will explain you. See, this is the cell. Okay, in the cell we have obviously a nucleus. Okay, and to this nucleus and in the membrane you have adhesion complexes. So these are focal adhesion complexes. Okay, the nucleus and focal adhesion complexes are connected by actin cytoskeleton. This is actin cytoskeleton. This is obviously nucleus. Okay, what is this? This is focal adhesion complexes. Focal adhesion complexes. Now to this focal adhesion complexes, integrins will bind. So this is the integrins which bind to the focal adhesion complexes. This is alpha integrin, this is beta integrin. To the end of the integrin you will see presence of these fibers. These are laminar fibers which are attached to these integrins. This is one more focal adhesion complex. These are alpha and beta integrins. These are integrins. Here you will have the fibers. What are these fibers? These are laminin fibers. Okay, now these are the fibers which are arising from the integrin itself. Now these integrins are connected to the molecule called as fibronectin. So this is the fibronectin which you can see. This is fibronectin. So integrin is connected to fibronectin. So this is one more. So integrin is connected to fibronectin. Okay, and above that at the end you will see presence of this structure. These are actually collagen fibers are arranged connecting the laminin fibers. Collagen fibers are arranged connecting the laminin fibers. So in this picture if you see, this alpha integrin connects the fibronectin. So these integrins are a large family of transmembrane heterodimeric glycoproteins. What do these cells help us in? These cells will allow the cells to attach to laminins and fibronectins. So these integrins will allow this cell to attach to laminins and fibronectins. Though these integrins on the surface of the leukocytes, these are essential in maintaining firm adhesion and transmigration across the endothelium at sites of inflammation. So if neutrophils, these will help in transmigration of neutrophils. We have learnt about this in pathology a lot, right? Then these integrins will attach to extracellular component. Fine, how do these integrins attach to these extracellular components? If you see molecularly, the integrins will attach to extracellular component by a tripeptide which is containing arginine, glycine and aspartic acid motif. With the help of this arginine, glycine, aspartic acid motif, abbreviated as RGD, the integrin will attach to the extracellular components. Besides providing the attachment, it also helps in whenever the substrates bind to this integrin receptors, it helps in signaling cascades which will help in cell locomotion, proliferation, shape and differentiation. So this is about the integrins. So what is the question? Once again we will see. So the integrin connects to which of the molecule in the extracellular matrix? It connects to the fibronectin. Laminin is fibers which are arising from integrin itself. So integrin connects to fibronectin. Then the next question. According to the Weber-Fechner law, strength of the stimulus is perceived directly proportional to intensity of stimulus. Strength of the stimulus is perceived directly to the intensity of stimulus. So according to Weber-Fechner law, strength of stimulus perceived is directly proportional to the intensity. So we will see some important points about this Weber-Fechner law. Okay, so in the Weber-Fechner law, here strength is directly proportional to the intensity. So that means greater the intensity of the stimulus, greater will be the strength that is generated. Okay, then we will see the next question. Maximum area in homunculus signifies. If there is maximum area in the homunculus, signifies low controlled and skilled movements? No. More muscle fibers are present? Actually, see, maximum area is those areas which require better movements. So increased precision of movements. Maximum area mainly specifies, maximum area in homunculus specifies increased precision are present in those areas where there is increased preciseness of movements. So in homunculus, the size of various parts is proportional to the use of the part. That is the reason why there is large representation is present to our fingers, to our hand and fingers, and also our lips. There is more representation for this homunculus. Okay, so in our body we have two types of homunculus. So in the homunculus we have two types of homunculus. First we will have motor homunculus and we also have sensory homunculus. If there is motor homunculus, right, so body on the left side is taken as the motor homunculus. The maximum area of this motor homunculus is given to the increased preciseness of the movement. It is given to the preciseness of the movements. In homunculus, largest area represents the face, hands, fingers. It represents the face, hands and fingers, while the precise localization is more important. In homunculus, largest areas represent face, hands and fingers, while precise localization is most important, that is motor homunculus. Then if you see sensory homunculus, in sensory homunculus the half of the body on the right is taken as sensory homunculus. It tells us how much brain power is dedicated for sensing different parts of the body. It tells us how much brain power is dedicated for sensing different parts of the body, that is sensory homunculus, right. So these are the important points about the motor and sensory homunculus. Thank you for watching.